Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Today, I'm joined by special guest Justin Jackson, co-founder of Media Boat Productions. The art and the quality coming from this production company is, I will say, it is up there. I came across it when they did a mini doc, a part of a series that covered one of our former guests, Drace. And with that, not only did it inspire me, but it motivated me in the sense of we have to, as content creators and all such, we have to push to strive to get the best out of what we do. So we reached out, he answered, and today here he is. So without further ado, how you doing, Justin?
What's up, man?
Hey, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm just blessed to be here today with you, man.
Hey, man. You know, honestly, I've got to know you in the past couple months.
Right.
And you just all around great guy, man.
Appreciate it, man. You too. And I just feel really fortunate to be on this podcast. Y'all have had a lot of great guests and making waves in the city, and to be asked to come here is real special to me. So I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. I had to reach out that series that you do. What is it called?
It's called Shocking Stories.
Shocking Stories. That series is, let me tell you, man, it's creme de la creme. When we talked on the phone that day, when I first reached out, I really was heavy on that because I was like, whoa, man. You guys got it. You guys got it.
Man, we're just trying to work and find ways to better our storytelling abilities. And that's one way that we do with Shocking Stories. It's just like an in-house production, something we put on about, someone or something that we really feel passionate about. And it's been a great learning process for us and figuring out our process in documentary storytelling. Fortunately, we've got some really cool people that we've been able to work with on it and tell some cool stories. So it's been legit.
Awesome. Well, with that, let's jump in.
Let's go.
All right. So where were you born?
I was born in Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains. So I'm a country boy living up in the Midwest now. A little town in the mountains. It's a tourist type town. A lot of people come to visit, and I was fortunate enough to grow up there and never realized how cool it was until I go back now to visit.
Man, how was childhood?
Childhood was great, man. I was very fortunate to, live in a place and just get to experience a lot of things and be around a lot of different types of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, well, you live in the country, but we had a very diverse area and school district that I went to, and just love me some mountain air, man.
Man, I mean, I'm from the East Coast, but I was born in the South Bronx. I was there for 6 months, moved to Milwaukee. Always been back and forth. Got love, you know what I mean? But I gotta love the East Coast. But that's more. Is that considered down south?
Yeah, it's considered south. I'd say anything like Virginia down is like the South.
Me and my family went to Virginia this past summer.
I think the lines are really drawn with like the Civil War kind of stuff, and some of those battlegrounds. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm from the South. I'm south of
For sure. So, what were hobbies of yours growing up?
Hobbies of mine growing up: playing baseball, playing video games, learning about World War II. Yeah,
World War II was a big thing for me, man. Yeah. I had this one teacher, Mr. Richards. He let me go into this little room. I was the attention getter, so he figured out a way. He worked with me to figure out how to get the best out of me, and it was putting me. I asked for it, but being in a desk, watching videos on World War II and taking notes.
Love it. Yeah, I had a summer where it was a World War II summer on the History Channel, and all I did was play baseball, come home, watch World War II for 2-3 months straight.
Yeah.
And I was probably 12. And my father had taken me to see Saving Private Ryan when it came out. I was way too young to be seeing that, but it just made an impression in my brain. And I've followed closely all movies and docs that have come out for World War II, and it's just something I think one day I would love to embark on a film around that. But we got to get there. We got to get there first.
Well, it's always cool. What sports were you into?
So always into baseball, and we'll dive a little bit more into that later, but basketball as well. Played basketball a little bit when I was youth, then got to play in high school for a little bit, but I had to make some decisions to put that down so I could focus on baseball later on in high school.
Okay. What would you say as far as passion? I know video obviously is a passion of yours.
Nowadays, yeah.
But what was your first passion?
My first passion was baseball, man.
Baseball. All right, let's dive into that.
Let's go.
So first love, baseball. When was the first time you picked up a baseball?
So a little interesting tidbit is my father, Chuck Jackson, he played in the major leagues, 13 years professionally. So baseball was kind of always in my blood.
Say it. DNA.
DNA. It was in my dinner. Yeah, so I always just was like around the game, grew up in the clubhouse, grew up playing. So it was just part of me for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, until I was 26, 27. Yeah, around that age. And yeah, I was just fortunate enough to take a journey in baseball that's led me to so many amazing places and just getting to meet so many great people and travel. And I'll tell you a little more, but I was fortunate enough to get drafted to the MLB and as a first round pick. And it was just like,
first round.
Yeah, I went first round supplemental, which is 45th overall. Yeah.
First round.
With the Blue Jays in 07. And, you know, that was just like an amazing journey to get to go through that.
Yeah.
And through a lot of different things, you know, fell into, you know, what I'm doing now. But that was a whole nother part of my life that I really haven't talked much about. And I felt like, you know, I've been lying into it a little bit more lately, just because it's important for us to learn how to tell our stories. It makes us better storytellers as well with what I do with filmmaking, you know. So
yeah. Well, I tell you, doing this platform has been therapeutic in many forms. We do have to remember what we come from and hone in on that, you know. So baseball was obviously a big part of your life. Who were players you idolized?
There's one that stands out, Derek Jeter.
Oh, man, the captain.
The captain, man.
The fucking captain.
Yeah, he was, I mean, I was obsessed with everything Derek Jeter growing up. Bought a Derek Jeter book at a book fair.
I was born in the South Bronx, bro. I told you I was born in New York.
Yeah, I was about to ask you right after that. I know you got to be a Yankees guy.
Yeah, I got love for the Brewers and the Yankees.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, man.
I grew up as a Yankee fan. I mean, our childhood, we had the golden era.
Oh, dude, you had.
I mean,
on the Yankees, Andy Pettitte, Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Scott Brocious. I could go on all day, bro.
Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens, man.
Bernie Williams.
Paul Martinez. Jorge Posada. Bro, let's stop.
Yeah, we could go all day.
But
yeah, that was a magical thing, and I got very lucky and was able to meet Derek. Mr. Jeter, I called him when I met him. I was 18, and
you met him?
I met him. I was on a
awesome.
draft workout here in Chicago, actually, for the White Sox, and I came up 2 days prior to the draft. They hosted me, allowed me to go out and practice with the team, take batting practice, and they were playing the Yankees.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I got to meet him, shook his hand, and called him Mr. Jeter, and he like. You know, it was the most afraid I've ever been to speak to a person, and I've never been starstruck ever since then because it really doesn't get much bigger than that for me.
Do you remember when you started baseball, when you realized that this was something you had the sauce?
Having a father that played, it was like expected in a way. So that brought a little pressure from one aspect, but I knew I had I'd have the tutelage and the ability. I just had to put the work in.
Yeah.
And I've taken that kind of mindset on everything that I've done ever since I was playing baseball. And just knowing that if you become a student of the game, you put the hours in and you're just hungry, it's going to work out for you. And so early on, my parents kind of instilled that mentality into me. So I kind of felt that I had an opportunity, but it really turned the corner for me probably like sophomore year of high school. I started doing some more nationally followed type tournaments and had some success, and the beast starts then, and the recruiting process kind of turns up. But that was the first time I realized, like, all right, this is real. Let me, and that's kind of when basketball got put down and we just like went all in on baseball.
what were achievements you reached before you went pro?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest one was getting to play for Team USA.
Ooh.
Yeah, the junior national team.
My boy out here just with the accolades. Yes, sir.
Boy, you silly, man. Yeah, I got to go to Cuba.
Oh, wow.
And play in Cuba. Took the silver medal. We lost to South Korea. Tough game, but something very interesting. We played Cuba in Cuba and cleared benches 4 times. We were a bunch of dumbasses.
Oh my God!
It was one of the most exhilarating things I've ever been a part
Fidel
of.
didn't come down.
I met Fidel's son though.
Oh wow!
Yeah, after a game, he came and talked to us, and that was very interesting.
Yeah, man.
We smuggled some cigars back in. Don't tell me.
Yeah, them Cubans.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was.
Yeah,
that was a great moment. Something I look back on now, and I have a ball at home that's signed by everyone that played on the team, and there's dudes.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman was on my team. Mike Moustakis.
Moustakis,
yeah. Some boys.
Boy!
Dudes, yeah. So it was always Matt Harvey, one of your New York guys.
Yeah.
He was down there with us. So it's just really, really great experience. And we were all young and knew nothing, at that point. So
look at dude. There is a secret gem here in Milwaukee right here.
Man, I'm just low key. I'm just a dad now, man.
Yeah. Well, you were drafted first round. What were those emotions when that phone call came in?
Yeah, dude, it was nuts, man. All the work you put in you were able to share that with family and friends. And we had a very interesting situation because my year was the first year it was ever televised.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was like a phone call. Everyone would listen in. They'd read off your like scout number and then say your name. So everybody just kind of listened, and it was like rapid fire. They had 5 picks every minute or something. So we go on TV that first year. It was like 2 hours per pick. And I was slotted to go anywhere around 23, 24 to whatever. And I ended up going 45. So my party was like 4 hours long. Oh. And it was just like stress, man. And everybody was like, oh, every second, the news left, all of that. But
oh man,
it was still one of the best days of my life. I got to share it with family, and it's just one of those things that you can never really explain that feeling,
Yeah, man. It's like, honestly, for me, it was when I first started this, I had a room full of, I did like the introduction. I was dropping this commercial, and it was basically going to show the world what I've been working on.
Right.
And having my family there, really my aces.
Yeah.
I'll put it like that. In that moment, you know what I mean, to see everyone around me supporting what I'm doing, and just more of a, it's, you can't, those type of moments, they mean more, and they'll always speak more volume. Right. So
those are the folks that are living through the ups and downs of it with you, and
exactly
sacrificing, and when you get to do something special and bring people along, it's an amazing feeling, and you can attest to that with this,
For sure. So how was the MLB experience? Because, I mean, you were in there for how many years?
Yeah, so I played 10 years professionally in the minors. It's a grind. It's hard, man. You go April to September, sometimes October, every day with 1 or 2 off days a month. It's a lot of work. So for me, the grind continued for a long time, and it got to a point where I was just like, okay, I'm ready to kind of settle down. Me and my wife, we were dating at the time, and it was like, it's time for us to take the step in our life. And so I finally was like, all right, I'm going to move to Milwaukee. We'll take that step in our relationship. And then I was like, I got a closet. I got a lady at home, beautiful lady at home. Sure. We got home cooked meals. It might be time to shut it down, Tired of the hotels, man.
Well, priorities come into play. I can attest to how you feel.
Yeah.
I was a bartender, not that it's on the level of what you were doing, but bartended. I made great money bartending just because of my personality and just where the location was. Yeah. But when I got serious with my wife, it was kind of walking away from that.
You decide what was important. Right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's one of the best decisions I ever made, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
So now you leave the major leagues. You know, that's an experience, ups, downs. You got through it. It taught you a lot about yourself, perseverance, dedication, just endurance of drive, you know.
Yeah.
What inspired videography?
Yeah. So my last season that I got to play in 2016, so let me fast or rewind just a year before that.
Yeah, for sure.
So a year before that, I was with the Braves and had one of the worst 3 days of my life. I lost a best friend in a plane crash. Crazy thing. My boy Phil, shout out Phil, love you, man. 2 days later, our bus was in a bus wreck.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah. Tough couple days.
Yeah.
And no one was killed or anything. We had some serious injuries, and I was blessed to have a little scratch on my knee.
Yeah.
And our bus went sideways, and my window was against the ground, and we almost hit a railroad tile. Like, we were blessed to survive.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah. And the next year, season shows up. I'm not getting calls back from teams, so it's either go play independent ball or shut it down. And I was ready to be done. So I called my pops, and I basically was on the phone in tears, like, I'm done. I'm done, man. I'm not doing this. And we just talked about it. He says, I think you need one more year. There's something that's telling me that you need to go out the way you want to go out. And I was like, man, I don't know about that, man. I'm done. I was having anxiety, didn't want to travel. Getting on a bus again was like, hell no, right?
Yeah.
And so I did it. In the mode of making that decision, I'm like, well, what's next? If this is it for me, what's next? And the easy answer was coaching.
Yeah.
Teaching baseball, getting into that world. So I've always been a creative person, editing photos, or we'd be doing dumb skits in the clubhouse I put on Instagram back in the day. So I was like, well, I'm going to buy a camera and just start a baseball YouTube and start speaking about, my first video ever was about count leverage, which is, basically what count the hitters in, how do the percentages play in hitter's favor, pitcher's favor. Just
for sure.
Very simple, maybe complex, but simple topic for me. And then like 3 videos in, I started vlogging. I was like, man, this is fun. This is fun. And was very lucky I went to the Lancaster Barnstormers, and they were all about allowing me to vlog during the season.
Oh, wow.
Bring my camera in the clubhouse, take it on the field during practice, things like that. So I just leaned all into it and made a documentary or a vlog series called Ball is Life. And I did weekly videos of me just traveling and playing. At the same time, every week I'm learning a new skill and focusing on, let me implement this in and try this and do this. I started editing on an iPad. Then I was like, dang, that's not going to last long. So I bought a computer and just started down that road. And by the end of the season, I had started to amass some following and just that passion. I just freaking loved it. You know, up all night learning and just like last thing I'm thinking about, first thing I think about when I wake up just was filmmaking and just creating. And it started to heal my anxiety that I was having. It started to heal that like fear of what was coming after my career. Yeah. Because I knew like this was something that was giving me peace.
It was there,
but I never knew how to obtain it or have a company or any of that stuff. Like I had no clue how that was going to happen, but I just knew I loved it. So I was going to dive into it the way that I can. And,
for sure.
And that was just kind of the first step into it. And then I moved to Milwaukee and decided to be done with baseball. And, there was some bumps in the road along that, trying to get into that right path and figure it out. And then, that was 2016. It took until 2020 for me to like get a full-time job as a filmmaker or as a videographer at that time.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but it was always in the trajectory, worked some odd jobs along the way, trucking logistics, getting cussed out on the phone and all that. But
what type of education plays a part with this? You know, man, I've been dipping my toes into this world, and I mean, it takes skill, but it also takes knowledge.
For sure.
So with you, was there any educational background that you dipped into to, get to the level you're at right now?
I was very fortunate to, part of my original contract was, there was a college scholarship plan because I was drafted out of high school, so I missed out on going to college and getting a degree. So they had a program where if I went back within 2 years of leaving affiliate ball, which would have been 2015,
Yeah.
I got a stipend that was equivalent to where I signed to college out of high school, which for me was Arizona State. I was going to go there and play, but ended up going pro. So I took that, had no idea what I was going to go do. So I'm here with my wife, and I'm like, maybe I'll just sign up at UWM, or we'll just figure out something and just get a business degree and call it.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was sitting on the couch, and I got a sponsored ad from the LA Film School.
Okay.
And I'm looking at that, and I was kind of afraid that, like, I asked my wife, like, what do you think if I go to film school? And she looked at me like, you need to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it gave me confidence. I was like, okay. So I called my agent, asked him about it, see if it was like a thing that was on like the list, because there's a list of certain schools, and it was. And I went to the LA Film School and went year round for 3 years and graduated cum laude.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, yeah, man.
Okay,
and got
dude.
a bachelor's in digital filmmaking. It was an online program, so I was able to do it and continue to work.
Yeah.
And just invest in myself. And that's when I think the confidence as an entrepreneur and filmmaker started to be created, because before that I was just like trying shit, you know.
Yeah.
I was kind of in that phase. But
Well, man, with that extensive type of education, getting a feel for what you ultimately are been doing since,
Yeah.
you know. When was Media Boat Productions founded,
yeah.
and what inspired that?
Yeah, so Media Boat Productions was founded in the fall of 2020. So during the pandemic.
Yeah. Oof.
Perfect time to start a company, right?
Yeah.
And but it was, I look back on it and I had a very lucky break, in March of 2020, I was hired by a company called the Urban Misfit Ventures.
Yeah.
It was some of my collaborators that I had known, and they
Yep.
finally were like, hey, I'm going to reach out and we'll hire you. I think it was February of 2020. And started with them, worked about a month and a half, and we all know what happened. Pandemic hit. And my wife was pregnant, and they were just like, we're going to do our best to
Yeah.
keep you on, but I didn't know that they were planning to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward a couple months, summertime, we had our baby, and they just said, look, we got 2 months of pay for you. And then
After that, you on your own.
yeah, so we can help you out. We've got some contacts, some things we can do. And then they came back to me and said, hey, look, you can have some of these clients if you want to continue to do something like this.
Yes.
One of the other co-founders was more of a video guy too. You guys can do whatever you'd like to do with that.
For sure.
And I made the call. Eric Didier, my co-owner,
Yeah.
was a co-founder of that company, and we sat and talked, and we decided to join forces and do our own thing. And we were, allocated a couple of those clients.
Mm-hmm.
He had the relationship already, so we just kind of rolled in. They were willing to continue. And so I had a good start there to kind of get us off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And September 2020, man.
There we go. Well, it's been blossoming, and it's been shooting up, bro.
Appreciate it.
I'm a major fan. I've let you know this on several occasions. With this, it's obviously showed you another side of you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when you were in the early days of baseball, you weren't thinking video was ever going to be something,
Never, no.
But what have you found that you love most about video, about filming?
Yeah. Being able to create out of thin air.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
something that was not there before, and I can, build a story and engage people out of something that, like, there was nothing there. So it's similar to molding clay or painting, and I always loved art class and things like that. So just making stuff, and filmmaking to me is one of the ultimate mediums for creation,
Yeah.
and it just, we talked a little bit before off camera just about music and getting into that, but I was able to tie that in, which is something I stuck my toes into. I was able to tie in just a lot of the artsy kind of things, and it just felt right, And I think filmmaking it made sense. And one of the first times that I felt that same passion I did for baseball, and like it's never gonna leave me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Man, well, with this, you start to form your own way of shooting film. How do you approach storytelling?
Approaching storytelling. So for me, it's a lot of it is finding a story that the character or the characters have a goal and a motivation. And if I can find that within a story, then I can kind of build something around that.
Yeah.
So we try to look for, when we are doing any project, what's the motivation, the why? Why is this important?
Yeah.
And once you narrow in on that, you can build the story around that. And then you just figure out where, what's your call to action if we're doing a corporate thing, or for a film or a documentary, what's the reason why?
Yes.
Find that. And then now you've got, a reason to get started, and you got an ending and a place to go. And you can just start to build that around it. And for me, every single decision I make, whether it's shutter speed or framing or color grade or just on set, just the type of lighting we're using, it's all informed by the story and what mood I'm trying to convey.
There you go.
And that's the language of filmmaking, and that's something I really have explored a lot more lately. And, it's filmmaking is interesting as you know a certain thing, you learn a little bit more, you get your fundamentals and start growing your fundamentals, but it's like a lot's going on, so it's kind of quick at first.
Yeah.
When you settle in, you can start like making decisions that are calculated about story, and that's where you find your sweet spot and start to grow as a filmmaker and find your voice as a filmmaker. Because sometimes at first you're just trying to copy and learn, right?
Yeah,
which I did
sure.
for years, copying my favorite creators.
Yeah, man. Well, I've seen your work, and man, there's something that you just got this touch that motivates me,
Thanks,
puts a
man.
type of drive that I'm like, I want to get to this. Like right now it's a podcast, but believe me, there's many ideas to go further, and
you can do it.
And I know it's possible,
Yeah.
but it's watching someone like you and seeing what you're doing, you and how creative you are. So, with Media Bolt and, the growth and the traction you've been coming on to, you've dabbled into what your touch is. I mean, watching you is motivating, inspiring. What type of projects have been created under the Media Bolt name?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about our documentary series, Shocking Stories. That's something that we do in-house. We fund the whole thing. We are, using it as a platform for us, number one, to like learn, try something new and grow, and then also show like our max capabilities and what we can do so that we can, have clients be able to see or attract new customers.
Oh, definitely.
Then secondly, we started a podcast in the last, like about 2 or 3 months ago, just the Media Bolt podcast, where we talk all things content creation.
Yep.
So whether you're like creating on a phone and you're on social media, or you're using big budget cameras, like we're trying to like target people that are creative. And, we've had a lot of guests on that are DPs, directors, people that are lighting, and we plan to continue to flesh that out and grow that. And it's a great networking tool, meeting new people here in Milwaukee that do what we do. And then secondly, it's just, we kind of talked about before, it's any way that I can give back knowledge, and I feel like I'm in a place now, filmmaking-wise, to have that conversation. Kind of how I started with baseball and trying to teach baseball now. I feel like there's an opportunity there to kind of grow and help somebody else that might be the next creative that's going to, change the landscape. And
Well, man, I will tell you, first and foremost, I am a fan of the Shocking Story series. I've sat on the phone with you for about an hour, and I literally, man,
and you motivated me to get my butt back out there and do another one.
Hey, man, I appreciate that for real. Like,
so we started a production
Yeah.
2 weeks after we talked.
Nah, man.
And I literally sat there and I'm like, damn, he's right.
I'm happy, dude.
I got to get back on it.
Man, because like when we talked that day, I wanted you to understand, like, you know, this is outsider looking in.
Yeah.
And when I seen the story you did on Drace, that to me was just like I'm just how creative it was. The look, it's like a go-getter entering this realm that is so competitive, but yet here he is defying the odds and what everyone else says, and him believing in himself. And the way you caught that story, to me, that was like dude, I'm getting goosebumps right now. But like with those stories, and then to doing the commercial that we're working on right now, stopping by your house and getting a glimpse of the new project you're on. Not too much because you can't show me everything.
Can't show you everything.
Yeah,
show you a little something.
But seeing that shocking stories, and believe me, I've been following the podcast. But I just want to say, man, dude, I salute you. I salute your creativity. I salute the drive that you have and what, what you guys are creating. Because honestly, for someone like me, a content creator who's, I'm trying my hardest, but I need people like you to inspire and just.
I'll tell you right now, I see you too, man.
You're
killing it.
That.
You're killing. It's funny. Once I kind of got in, because I'm, we're good friends with Drace, both of us, and I saw him and his wife on the podcast, and I was like, "Who is this? Let me check this out."
Yeah,
and you done spam my page for weeks, so you're getting it.
Yeah,
and I love how you've tapped the algorithm to make sure that it's being consistent, it's getting out there, it's growing exponentially, and really like. I mean, strategic wise, in the guests you've got, man, you're killing it, dude.
I appreciate that, man.
And I just want to continue.
Oh, no, for sure,
with
man.
our podcast and what we're doing, I'm like, I see what you're doing, and it's like, it is inspiring, and because it's a new realm for us on podcasting.
Oh, for sure.
We're learning that as we go. So seeing someone like you, it's like, man, okay, it motivates us to like, let's get more content, build more, and grow, because it's the blueprint, and you're killing it.
Very well. It's just believing in yourself, and you can do it. Like we both know this. So walk me through a normal day in Media Bolt.
Funny. Wake up, change some diapers, get a coffee brewing, and walk down the stairs and go in the studio, man.
And may I say, you have a great setup.
Thank you.
One day I'll get there, man. But yeah, it's an awesome setup.
Yeah. So honestly, being a filmmaker and a business owner, there's a lot of different hats. So, some days are more, business focused, emails, budget, figuring out, where the money's at, all that kind of stuff. Then other days I'm highly creative. And then other days are kind of forced when we got deadlines we just got to hit. So it's never, no one day is alike, which is what I enjoy. The monotony kind of thing would kill my soul. So like, having a job and just something where every day's so different. Like today for me is very, very different, than even yesterday was. So I really do enjoy that. It gives me, I don't have to wake up and my day's planned out for me. I don't like that. I like being able to.
It's always spontaneous. It's just new.
It's spontaneous, but there is focus and certain things that I have to, kind of focus in on and narrow in on. But I'm not always like, okay, it's the same schedule every day. It's the same work every day. I'm not just sitting there editing 5 days in a row. There are days where I have to put some extra time in on editing, you know what I mean? But
for sure.
Or there's days where I just get to be creative and start concepting and figure out what the next thing is. And, that's always fun.
That's awesome. So you're a branch of, Media Bolt. Who is Team Media Bolt?
Team Media Bolt. So it's me and my co-owner, Eric Didier.
Okay.
And, yeah, man, we're just a great team. We've been able to work together, and we have very different skill sets.
Yeah.
He's just like super tech MacGyver type guy, figures out problems, especially when it comes to the tech world, and just like making sure some of that infrastructure is there.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a much more like in my head, creative, trying to get ideas down. And a lot of times he helps me find good ways to take my ideas out of my head and get them on paper and get structured. And I think we've done a good job of like, being the yin and the yang and making sure we have everything kind of covered. Yeah. And so it's the two of us. And then a lot of times we're hiring other creatives to come in, whether we need like extra camera, someone on set to help out, BTS, that kind of thing. So we contract out some of that stuff. Just depends on size of the project, what it kind of calls for, how we kind of structure each project.
Yeah. So, this journey, it has its ups and downs. Who have been positive influences, mentors to you in this journey?
That's an interesting one. Man, I know. So early on for me, a lot of my inspiration and just influence were people on YouTube. Because I think moving to Milwaukee, I didn't know anything about the scene. So I was kind of learning on social media, doing that along with going to school. So there were a lot of filmmakers. I can think of a couple that stand out. Mark Bone, he's a documentary filmmaker on YouTube that's just incredible, teaches high level of stuff. Casey Neistat was a vlogger, huge vlogger on YouTube that I learned a lot about storytelling from and how to take something very simple and make a great story around it and engage people. And I think they were really early on collaborators. And then there are other people in the city now, I'd say Cody LaPlante and a guy we got coming out on our podcast, Spencer Ortega, that are just so freaking next level with the filmmaking thing that I've always watched and said, man, I want to get to that. And it's been great because lately I've been able to kind of, rub elbows with Spencer and learn some things from him and be around him some. And those type people show that it's possible here in Milwaukee. They're doing big things, going to LA, shooting huge projects with huge, artists. And it's really cool to see. So it's one of those things where you're like, yo, it's possible, and I got to meet Philly Flyboy, right? And
he's awesome.
Man, that dude is legit at what he does.
Yeah.
I got to be on set and watch him work. And I mean, that was somebody that when I first saw them and found out, oh, he's from Milwaukee. I've watched tons of his videos because of, I'm a huge T.I. fan and Young Thug and all those guys. Man.
His episode is one of the most talked about episodes. And that was in the very beginning when I started this. I got the utmost love for Philly. Straightforward guy. I love how blunt he is, but I also love how caring he is because he is a caring person. I could pick up the phone right now and call him, ask for advice, whether it's about a computer I'm about to buy or, you know what I mean, asking about what type of angles would you shoot. But for the most part, he's been a great mentor. He's someone I definitely look up to in the realm that you're doing right now. What if, but you know what I mean? We have these big people that come out of Milwaukee like Philly, but you're on that path. So what achievements stand out for you in this journey of production?
Yeah. So for me, I'm always searching for the story that is going to touch the most people and give inspiration or help,
Yep.
And one that stands out for me is, we've got to work with a foundation called Project Bubbaloo, and it's a foundation for congenital heart disease within children. And Callie, the owner of the group, she lost a child and started this thing, and it's just honestly amazing. We've got to work with them a couple times, and this past year we shot a video that was essentially, where's your money that you're donating going and the research that's being used, and it's directly funding research to help give these kids, a chance, you know what I mean? And man, the feeling of, we got to go to the banquet.
Yeah.
The video was played. There were hundreds of people there and there wasn't a dry eye in the room. And being able to see that, I understood what my purpose is and why, really why I wake up every day and do what I do.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just one of those things that just reminded me, me and Erica looked at each other after and was like, this is why we do this.
Yeah.
It's not about...
That's the most raw type of...
Yeah. And the other thing is we didn't make a dime off the project. We want to do that. And and it had nothing to do with what we did, but they brought in $90K worth of, people donating from that event. And it's damn, this is the type of things I want to align myself within the city because it's important, and there are people being affected by a lot of different things. And, Callie's just an amazing person that is making change. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of things like that, and always looking for other things like that to we can dive into and help.
Well, bless you, brother, because you know what I mean. That's what life is about, man. You learn, you hone in on what you're great at, and you give back.
Yeah,
I've always been someone that I'll take off the shirt off my back to give it to somebody in need. I was in New York before, took off my shoes and gave it to a homeless guy, just because I was like, you know what I mean. I could, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's those type of things. But doing something like you do, I believe it. No dry eye in the room. It's those moments where you can honestly be like, how you said, this is what we do it for, and feel reward within saying that. You know, So you've done great inspirational things like this. You're dipping your toes into the nature of podcasting now.
Yeah.
And
Diving
I've been
in.
following. You're in, not diving in. You're in.
Yeah, we're in there now.
Yeah,
We're
you're in there.
invested for sure.
But what has that been like for you? And what inspired this
Yeah.
this route to, we're in production, you know what? Let's step it up. Let's go do a podcast.
I think for us, a couple things. Networking was like high on the priority list, and post pandemic, like I just don't get out of the house as much anymore. I don't go to networking events as much anymore. I'm either working or being daddy, and
Yeah.
this was a way to make work networking. So bringing people on and learning, and because I'm genuinely interested when people come on and want to know things about them and their journeys. But a lot of times we're really focusing on like the craft of filmmaking or content creation and that kind of thing, because it's interesting to me, and to Eric. And I think that was a big part of it. We didn't start this for it to be a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Like at all. Like it's just something that I think we're genuinely interested in. We've produced a few podcasts for other companies and done the production. And it was something we're like, well, we've got the knowledge. We are blessed enough to be able to use a studio, Storymark Studios. They allow us to come in and we do some work with them. And it made sense to, give it a try, check it out, see what it's like, kind of create our own thing and our own kind of niche within that.
Yeah. What are the type of topics you discuss on this platform?
Yeah, so we had recently we've got an episode coming out. It's about cinematography with a DP. We talk a lot about lighting and just choosing shots and different gear and things like that. We've talked about storytelling, why it's the ultimate medium, filmmaking. We did we've got an episode coming on about AI. And,
there we go.
Because it's kind of changing our workflow. It's not taking over, hopefully, but it's definitely affecting our workflow and making things better and more efficient for us. So it's really about the things that I think that are affecting us on a daily basis as creators. We want to find more people that are, maybe in the TikTok world or just mass producing content, because, there's just different avenues out there. So yeah, it's kind of hitting that whole spectrum.
Yeah. Why do you feel this platform is most beneficial to your consumers?
It's just another way to get out there, For us, we've worked, kind of behind the scenes so much, we're either working on set or we're sitting in there editing. So this is another way to get our face out there, get our stories out there, let people connect with us as well.
Yeah.
I think it shows a little bit about our expertise along with who we are as people. Sure. And I think branding yourself is really important, and a lot of companies and clients will gravitate towards people they may feel more comfortable with. And I think putting yourself out there, a lot of creatives are very introverted, right? And I think if we can put ourselves out there a little bit more, it gives us an edge in the marketplace too, because we're not, people can see who we are. You know what I mean? And part of that comes with when if we got two people that have the same skill set, who do I want to spend 8 hours on set with? You know what I mean? And that's a really important thing, and just how you deal and conduct business is really important. So I think it helps with that, but it's just honestly been a new avenue and something fun that's been challenging to jump into.
That's awesome. How do you feel about Milwaukee, and how do you feel about how it's attributed to the success of your production company, of, the podcast platform?
Yeah.
How is it attributed to that?
Man, Milwaukee's been awesome. They a lot of people call it small Milwaukee, but like I got to meet some people early on that were, creatives, content creators in that type world. But there's just number one, a lot of business here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can do. The networks are small. There's a lot of people that, that person that you have common
sure.
friends. And that really helps with networking and working with other folks. The one thing I did notice upon coming here, though, is the competition over collaboration thing I noticed a little bit early on.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't really like.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that. So I've tried to be more the other side and collaborate. Like,
It's a damper.
yeah, like you got a podcast, I got a podcast. Let's link up. It's not like,
Oh, for sure.
no, I'm not doing this because to me, there's just so much out there for everyone. It's unlimited supply of opportunity, and it's a growth mindset. So I want to be in the room with the people that you know, that I look up to, or that I can help. You know, so like
I feel the same way. You know what I mean? I think networking is the biggest thing. Every interview I do, I get to network with everyone I interview. And it's turned into something that not only the friendships, but hearing people's stories, hearing your story. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
It's fun as hell, man.
And it's fun as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't deny, you know what I mean? Time flies when you get in a deep conversation like this. But for the most part, it's like I do hate that stigma of the competition.
Yeah.
It's not about that. I've learned that through collaboration is the only reason why this platform has grown in the way it has.
Yeah. Yeah, so I come from a world where competition is all that matters, dog eat dog world of sports athletics, and I really had to change my mindset when I got here to say, you know, like, we got to collaborate. It's not about who's the best.
Yeah.
Especially in the world we're in, you can't do it on your own. If
No,
you're
you
a
can't.
solo shooter, like, and that's all you think that you can do, and that's the way that you move, there's only so much ceiling on some of the stuff you can do. But when you start to collaborate and share and bring others involved and share resources, man, there's like, that's when we're going to really tap into the potential that this city has to offer, because the creatives are there. There are people that are unbelievable. And the ones that have tapped into that collaboration aspect are taking off and have done, you know, great things. And I think other cities, they already understand that, right? So it's a younger thing too. I think a lot of the younger generation gets that. You know what I mean? Some of the old heads, we have to be like kind of.
I'm very fortunate coming across someone like you, because I do think you do get it. And you know, doing collaboration, I got to be selective. You know, I do hold to a standard. And, you know, you exceed that. Like you know what I mean? The one thing I love about you is you care about quality, and you can see it all through your work. And that's something that truly, that is something I'll go to the end of the world for when it comes.
Appreciate that.
You put your name on the dotted line, that's your name.
Yeah.
So you should be taking some type of pride in the quality that comes with it.
Thank you, man.
What do you aim to do with Media Bolt and the traction you've created?
Yeah, I think for me, man, I'm here. I'm going to be a Milwaukeean for life. You know, my family's here. My wife's from here. I ain't going nowhere, right? So I think if I can just do something that leaves this place with more opportunity for the next generation when it comes to filmmaking, I've done my job. So my aim really at this point is to continue to grow the business so that we can give opportunity to others, you know?
Yeah.
And at this point, I've been, you know, blessed enough to provide a lifestyle for my family, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can share that with others, teach them. And honestly, for me, I want to be able to teach and let people go on and do their own thing and grow too. Like, I've always stressed that, like, there's so much out there, and just empowering others to not be afraid to take the leap and just go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're in a weird niche where, like, a lot of people do it on the side, you know? So giving that opportunity to have somebody be able to do it full time, and that would mean the world. And I think we're on that trajectory, and, you know, and just creating new avenues to teach, bring other people in to teach, you know, whether it's like, you know, in a group setting, those type things. I think something I want to do down the line, and, you know, and then have the opportunity and the freedom to go create the next film, the next project, you know, and be able to kind of like dive in on the story that really matters. And as long as I'm always like doing and pushing forward a project that I feel passionate about, I'll always be like, you know, feel like I've succeeded and got to the place that I want to be at, you know? And that's kind of what the goal with everything is, like finding something that makes you wake up and be excited every day. And then you're truly winning. Like, and with baseball, I always was like so worried about getting to the next level, being moved up, getting called up to the major leagues, which never happened for me. So I had this feeling of failure that sat on my heart a lot.
Oh,
you know?
really?
Yeah, because I didn't get to where I aspired.
Yeah.
And it was always the next thing, the next thing. I could never relish in any victories, which I'm not saying you should, but I never like appreciated where I got, because I got to do some really special things. And I just told myself, with filmmaking, we ain't doing that. That mindset's out the window. From now, it's growth, it's winning mentality. It's just finding what I'm passionate about and knowing that that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And if I'm always searching for that, I'll always be in a mentality where I can feel successful and be happy. Because like when you're always searching, trying to get to that next level and you don't quite make it, it's always that feeling of,
Yeah.
And at some point that wears you down, you know. But it's gratitude, the attitude, man. Just finding out when, you know, what is gratitude's the attitude.
Yeah.
Just finding that feeling of, you know, this is my purpose, this is why I'm doing this, and thank you, God, for giving me those opportunities. Then things are like,
well, I just want to let you know what I mean? You're a success. As far as baseball goes, you were still within these organizations, Toronto Blue Jays, the Braves. You still made it within those organizations. Most can't even say that. So I just want to put that out there. Man. You are a success. You're a success with the next chapter that you're in, you know, and here I am as a speaking outsider in. I'm a fan. So, you know, we're talking about growth. Where do you see Media Boat in the next 5?
Next 5. I think by then, you know, we're hopefully have a situation where we're helping others, man. That's really, like I said, is the goal. And 5 years from now, helping others and putting together projects where, you know, everyone's getting a chance to eat, you know what I mean? And whether that's a film, you know, a narrative film or a documentary or just, you know, different commercial projects and having a place where we can bring people in and have that vibe. And that's really what I'm like always, you know, boarding and putting out there in the universe. Like that's kind of where we want to go, because at the end of the day, it is about helping others, you know what I mean?
I appreciate you coming on here, man.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
It's hearing your story and just the journey of what you've went through and how you've made these leaps. If there's one thing that I've noticed throughout this whole story is the consistency of striving for something bigger. And, you know, with that, you got a lot of aspiring youth that are into things like this.
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
The advice that I would give the youth is find something that you're passionate about and give it all to it. Push yourself and learn as much as possible so that you can really find who you are within that thing. You know, I was fortunate enough to find filmmaking and dive into that and make that my thing. But like, you got to be kind of obsessed and a little bit insane maybe.
Yeah.
Because you like every single night, and people think I'm lying when I say this, but every night, tonight I'm going to go home, get on YouTube and find a video about a piece of gear that I need to learn and research, or I'm going to find, you know, something about framing, something, just continue to grow my knowledge or just hone in on that and putting the reps in. And I learned that from baseball. You put the reps in, when it's game time, you move fluid. When you don't put that time in, you're thinking, right?
Yep.
And you're not confident. So for me, knowledge is power, and just put that, be obsessed and go after it and put those hours in, because you will be successful if you put the hours in.
Man.
And most people quit before they, you know, before they put that work in, and they say, oh, it just didn't work out, you know. But typically they quit right before breakthrough. So keep going.
Well, amen to that. Again, I appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you sharing your story. And I'm a fan, man, and I look forward to what the future holds. Of course, we have to make some type of collaboration happen.
Yes, sir. We're going to do it.
But definitely, I appreciate you. And I from me to you, please keep doing what you're doing. You inspire me. You motivate me. And honestly, I salute your work. I love the quality. And just, thank you.
And thank you, man. Thanks for creating a platform and a place for people to come up and share their stories, man. And what you're doing is awesome. And I really see you. And I just really am thankful that you even felt like I was on the playing field with some of these other cats, because you've had.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Man, you
man.
got some dope ass people on. So
I appreciate that.
It's been great getting to meet you. And I'm looking forward to, you know, continuing to know you, my man.
That's awesome. So what are ways people can contact you?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're interested in, you know, working or doing something, you can hit me up at justin@mediaboatproductions.com. email me there or just holler at us on social media. We're on everything, Meteor Boat Productions, at Meteor Boat Productions. If you want to check out the podcast, we're at Meteor Boat Productions Podcast. It's live on, all the places you listen or watch. So
For sure. All right, man. Well, with that, thank you again, and Spearhead out.